So I want you to know that I remember, I'm sure my brother feels the way, when my father passed away, it was just, okay, I knew in my head my father passed away, but it was like inside, it takes a long time to realize. It takes a long time to realize. And, I'm always so heartbroken when I see my children, and when I see my brother's children. I'm so sorry that my father's not alive to see his grandchildren. Great grandchildren. It's so special. My father had a very, very, very special sense of beauty. Said enough. I'm trying to be, but I'm not so much. My father would not walk even to the corner without putting on a tie. My father would not walk to the corner without combing his beard. And my father would not walk to the corner without a jacket. My father was a prince. My father was a prince from top to toe. I want you to know, I always tell my friends, how do most people treat a schlepper, a schnorrer, a gunner, a thief? And before he's stealing from all four sides. He comes to you, you give him some money and say, okay, Zame, give him this. Whenever a person came to visit my father, he would put in his tie, comb his beard, put on the jacket, and open the door and say, it is so wonderful to see you. There was a guy, a mamish, a thief, a shulach, he's making money for yeshiva. Yeshiva doesn't exist. I'm sure he himself was not even in Schleim. And mamish, he's a thief of them, not even polished because it's so obvious. Whenever he came to my father, I remember the last time he came, and my father says, tell him to wait. Father goes, father has a little mirror, takes out mamish, brushes his beard, puts on the tie, and looks 5 times if the tie is in my place, puts on the jacket. And then my father opens the door and says, Achos, wonderful, you come in. My father gave me some money. I'm sure he had more money than my father, 10,000 times. So I asked my father, publicly, it's very sweet that you treat me. Aren't you overdoing it a little bit? Aren't you overdoing it a little bit? I never forget it. My father says to me, all the honor in the world, all the covet in the world is not enough for the lowest person. All the covet in the world is not enough for the lowest person. What do we know how much good? And there's one thing, my father gives so much covet to people. And Halabai, a little bit. We should be able to follow it. I just want to tell you one good story, and then I want my holy brother to say some beautiful words. My father turned on hundreds, maybe thousands of people to Yiddishkeit. Today is a tshuva movement, which is beautiful. I hate the word tshuva movement. Tshuva movement means I'm a tzaddik, but you have to do tshuva. And I want you to know something without saying anything bad today. There's a lot of money in tshuva today. Don't kid yourself. If you want to open a yeshiva about tshuva, there are millions available today. Mamash, millions. They're not even ask you if the difference from a tziyah or a kama. You just say you have about tshuva yeshiva. By the way, there's some rich people. They don't give money for the real bala tshuvas, but just for the men. Anyway. I want you to know my father turned out thousands of people. Thousands of people. And I want you to know the Heilige Lubliner, I think I shared it with you. The holy city of Lublin was learning by Rabbi Melech for a long time. Then Rabbi Melech says to him, I give you everything over, I taught you everything, but there is one thing you don't know yet. And for that, you have to go to my holy brother, the Rabbi Rav Zusha. Okay, he comes to the Rabbi Rav Zusha, and the Rabbi Rav Zusha says to him, My dear friend, how do you tell somebody when they do wrong? How do you make somebody repent? Repentance for this, for the sake of names. So Lublina says, very simple. If I see somebody doing wrong, I take them aside. I tell them, brother, here's the book that says you did wrong. Page 35. Rabbi Zusha says, I don't think it works. I don't think it works. Yeah. I'll go to the world 50 years, the Torah says. And I have to tell you a joke at this point, just to make it even. At one point or another, today everybody's an atheist, or I don't know what. And in former days, atheist, at the turn of the century was a new thing, right? Atheist. Wow. That would be something special, right? So, in the little Chassidish Städtele in Poland, they saw in the newspapers that there'll be a big convention of all the atheists of the world. So one Chassidish Yid said, this is going too far. Okay, one is an atheist, and other is an atheist, but to get together and tell the world loud they don't believe in God, and we have to stop it. And somebody has to go there. He says, why you want to go? He says, I better go. If you're not going, I'm going. Okay, Moshe go on pants, and was probably not that my pants are so good, but at least they're not that much good. Mamish, they're buying everything, and the Mamish looks like the prince, and they got the money together, and he's standing on the train, and the whole village is going to see Moshe off. He's going to the Congress of the Atheists. Okay? So here's the way they're standing on the train, and the train is leaving soon. Someone says to Moshe, what are you going to tell them? I think I didn't prepare myself. I took the Chumash with me, I took the Bible with me. Here it says at the beginning God created heaven and earth. I showed them black and white, God created the world. They said to Moshe, they don't believe in the Bible. I came completely prepared for that. Look, the commentary Rashi says the same thing. Rashi also said, the commentary Rashi also said that God created heaven and earth. They say, hey Moshe, they don't believe in Rashi. He says, what? He says, they are so far gone. They don't even believe in Rashi. He says, they're hopeless. I'm not going. So the Rebbe of Zusha says to him, the heading is the able to bleed. It is very beautiful. You take a person aside, tell him, listen, I'll teach something. It says here, you're not permitted to do it. You should do it this way. The Rebbe of Zusha said, first of all, it doesn't work. And second, he said, I want you to know, do you think you make them feel good? You make them feel so bad. And the first thing is, people cannot stand somebody who makes them feel bad. They run away from you. I want you to know something. I was once in Meir Shon, in Yerushalayim, there's an old bookstore, and Alter Yid is 90 years old. He mamish doesn't know what he has. Never he charges, never, it's close to when he died. He charges for every book $1. Never, And he has some books that were worth $100, $200, unbelievable books. Anyway, I was once there, and I saw, torn out from a book, 5 pages, stories of Sincere Brooklyn, which I have not seen printed anywhere else. So this was those 5 pages, telling you the story. So the Rebbe of Zusha said, first of all, he said, it doesn't work. And second, he says, you put mud on them, you push them back into the garbage bin. And here, the Rebbe of Zusha says the deepest thing. Why do you think people do wrong? Not because they don't know it's wrong. Never. They don't have the strength to do right. They don't have the strength. So you tell them they did wrong. They know it themselves also. They need strength. So the Heilige Tzir says to him, okay, Heilige Rebbe Reb Zusha, how do you do it? Reb Zusha says, you know what I'm doing? I'm shining into them so much light. I'm shining into the heart so much love from heaven that Mamash has become new people. I want you to know something. The way my father was training on people to Yiddishkeit. My father maybe never heard of the Rebbe Rabdusha until later on. So Mamash, my father was shining into people so much light, so much love, so much sweetness. And just in honor of my brother and his children, I'm sorry, my children are not here, but at least some of my father's ends like I hear. I want to tell you a little story. My father told this to us 1,000 times. My father was walking down to Shul Rosh Hashanah, and my father's synagogue was, let's say, here. Right around the corner was the big Reform synagogue. I have nothing against Reform, but it was really a bad scene, because there, the Reform Shul, they didn't even have a chazan. They had an opera star who was singing, gurgling away. And the way, as a joke, they were singing? The men's choir would sing, Tzadikim we are holy, we did not sin. And then the women's choir would answer, Aval anachnu chotonu. It was not only stupid, it was ridiculous. Anyway, but people went there because they had also a choir of like 25 go-girls. And it was unbelievable. It was absolutely had nothing to do with Yiddishkeit and Kippur. It's not like, at least the day of Reform, coming back a little bit, then it was not bad. Okay, my father from the street goes to shul. Suddenly he sees, obviously a person is Yontif, he has a top hat on, with a little boy of 5. And children are much more real than the adults. When they like somebody, they'll tell you everything right now, they're not holding back. So my father sees this little boy of 5, took a liking to him. My father's walking, and this healer is walking. The same, this way. My father thinks, I'd like to know where this healer is going. I don't think he's coming to my synagogue. Okay, he passes my father's synagogue, and he's going to the Reform. My father walks up to the healer and takes the little boy's hand. And the boy was so happy to hold my father's hand. And he says to the Yid, I'm confiscating your son. He says, what do you mean you're confiscating your son? He says, who gave you the right? I'm sorry, it wasn't him, Kippur Rosh Hashanah. He says, who gave you the right to take such a holy day Rosh Hashanah away from your son? He needs it. It's his Rosh Hashanah. Who are you to take it away from him? And obviously, the Yidder was impressed with my father. And he says, so what should I do? He says, my father, be my guest in my shul. I want you to know, this boy grew up and was absolutely my father's right-hand man. Then he went to Israel, and he himself again turned on hundreds of people. My father was an unbelievable speaker. Not just a cute little talker, a Shakespearean speaker. My cousin Shlomo was a little bit more objective than I. All the Carlebachs, all the children of my grandfather were awesome speakers, not just cute little artists. Gewalt speakers. It was not just listening, like tearing people's kishkes out, Mamash. I remember one time, the last year before my father passed away, my father went to Israel, and then I met my father in Grindelwald in Switzerland. So beautiful. And then the last Shabbos before my father left, my father was learning Pirkei Avos. Was my father's specialty. I watched the people. It was not that they were concentrating on my father. I watched them. They were not in this world. Their eyes were like glued on my father. When my father smiled, they smiled. When my father cried, they all cried. It was like one heart and one soul. And I remember Mamash, can't forget it. At the end of the door, my father's mom loved learning with people. My father says, when will I see you again? When will I see you again? Anybody begin to cry? When will I see you? What a deep question. But anyway, I'm just so glad that my holy brother and I am just trying to keep up the holy teaching of my father. And of my Zaydik, my Zaydik, my grandfather, is Gewalt. Gewalt should be Gewalt. Gewalt should be Gewalt. Awesome. My grandfather lived into the 70s. You know that my grandfather never sat down in the synagogue. He stood over Shon, Olim Kippur, every day, every Shabbos. The only time he ever sat down was on Simchas Torah. He held the Torah by HaKovis. Because when they call out HaKovis, for a few minutes he would sit down. And the greatest privilege is that my father inherited that Simchas Torah chair from my grandfather. It's very, very special. My father was relative. They never sit down. Never sit down. Different kind of Yid. Different kind of Yid. But anyway, I wanted to Shlomo, say a few words.
Come on.
Shlomo. Not yet. Okay, we'll take your 5 minutes. Okay, good. Okay, my holy brother is going to say a few words.
So the question, if we each